Part 1. Hello Guardians, and welcome to today's Look What Do. Today I will show you how to do redstone. Join me. Boing! Over here I'm going to show you our redstone museum, where we have our multitudes of many different kinds of redstone contraptions and traps and things you can power and anything else you can think of maybe in this museum. Let's go inside, shall we? Alright, so let's start off with the basics. With redstone power, you have a source and you have a redstone wire which carries electrical current to whatever you're trying to power. But it can only go 15 blocks from the source. So here you have your redstone torch. After you've placed your redstone torch, this is block number 1. Count 15 blocks exactly in any direction from that block. And you have a length of wire from the redstone wire that you've placed. Once it reaches the 16th block, you have no power current going through any of it. It dies out. It's lost its power. It can't go any further. So you have to try and figure out a way to keep all your power within 15 blocks of the source. This is where repeaters and redstone, comparators would come into place. They would extend the redstone power as another source. It would enter through the back and go out through the front and extend your source another 15 blocks. Especially with the repeaters. So, let me tell you about how a repeater works. First, you have your input. You have 2 blocks of redstone wire, and repeaters only receive and give power in a single direction. So right here you see this arrow-like pattern on the back. Where it's flat on the arrow is where the redstone has to attach to. Through the front where the arrow points is where the power exits. And every click you can set to delay, like right here. Those clicks set to 1/10 of a second delay per click. So a total of 4/10 of a second per repeater can be placed down. And if you put down the right number and the right number of clicks, you can actually put a full second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and further going on to make an actual clock. And as it exits one repeater, it sends the signal to another, which sends a signal to yet another, and then it reaches whatever it's trying to power, which is our piston. So I think I have a full 1 to 2 seconds. Let's see. Nope. I do not have it to 1 full second. 4, 8, no, yeah, I set to 1. Never mind. After it's been 4/10 of a second, the power then is delayed, which is what a repeater does. It delays the signal. So this can work great with clocks, and just for overall extending your reach of redstone power. Let's move on to the next one. Now I'm going to show you how to make a simple power inverter. You have your source A, which is your switch. If you have a redstone torch on a block and it's receiving power, so if you have your block here and you have a redstone torch attached to it, redstone torches are always set to on by default until it receives power. Once a redstone powered block receives power from a second source, it turns off. So you have the switch turned on, activating this wire, which is giving power to this block. Since these 2 torches both sense that the block already has power, the redstone torches are then turned off, which inverts the power. So you basically have a stopper switch. So you can have lengthened inversions going long distances and having complex contraptions that use logic gates with inverters as well. So seeing how it's the on position, if I turn it off, there is no power being received by this block anymore, which means these torches now sense that they can be turned on again. Now that it gives power to this redstone wire, which then powers your source. The item you want to power. On to the next one. Here I will show how redstone power works when it's transferred through redstone wire. When you have redstone wire put down, you cannot power anything directly next to it on either sides. It has to literally look like it's being plugged into whatever you're giving power to. So I'll show you here where I have piston here and this piston here. A length of redstone wire going between them. One would think, hey, they're touching the redstone. They should both turn on, right? No. Let's show you. Nothing happens because the redstone wire is not being led directly into one or the other piston. Over here, I have it actually split off to touch two pistons with one length of wire. So you have the little T pattern here, so it splits. It can split in 4 different directions. So if I did this, put some redstone right here, you could see it has a cross pattern on one block. And it will transfer power through the wire instantly across that length to both pistons. So you have to make sure that when you want to power something with redstone, it has to literally plug into whatever you're trying to power. On to the next one. Here I show you how to switch rail systems with redstone power. As you can see here, I have just a little block of redstone, some source block with your switch, and a rail that splits off in 3 directions. It will not split between 4 directions evenly. That's kind of hard to pull off unless you know what you're doing. But I'm going to show you a basic trick here. A lot of people don't exactly know how to make a basic switch, which I will show you now. You have redstone touching a rail that splits off in 2 different directions, like you see here, and you will swap over to the other side every time. So its power will show up on one side. Once it's lost power, it'll go back to the other side. So you can make complex monorail systems and roller coaster rides and stuff like that for your mining with just a simple flip of a switch. Over here, I can show you that redstone power also opens doors that you could open. Like iron doors require redstone power. You can use a switch, you can use a button, anything. If you use a switch, the door stays open indefinitely until power is turned off. With a button, the power is delayed by maybe half a second to 1 second. So it only remains open until you walk through, and then it closes by itself. Because it gives power, and then it stops. So switches are ideal, unless you're making a locked door mechanism, which I can show you later. Same can be said for a wooden door, which you could open manually, but maybe those of you who are lazy could use a pressure plate, which would also give redstone power. But for here, the switch powers a door. You can also use this to open trapdoors. They work the exact same way. And any door that you power with redstone can also be used for annoyance machines. And I can show you that later. Over here you can see redstone powering up a note block. You can hear it in the background there, the thump. Depending on what you have a note block put on top of, changes its sound. But I'll leave that one for another day. And over here you have the next one in a slightly higher pitch to show the difference. Here you have the powered rail. This has to receive power to be of any use to anybody. If you don't have a detector rail directly next to it, or slightly behind it connected with more redstone, then you're not exactly going to have ideal results for your powered rail systems. You see how it glows? That shows it's receiving power. And when it's off, it just looks plain old bland and sitting there mocking you, saying, haha, I'm gonna stop whatever you're gonna throw on top of me because I'm a jerk like that. Give me power! Power! Anyway, over here I'm going to show you things you can do to give power directly to whatever you wish. You can power pistons just by placing a redstone torch directly next to it. You can do the same thing with placing a redstone torch directly behind any number of repeaters, and then having the repeater touch the piston. You can also have the redstone torch lined up with some redstone wire, plugged into a repeater, plugged into a piston. That works too. Pistons can move other pistons. Pistons can move all of these blocks that you see here. These two that are off, this one's powered by a switch. Turn it on, turn it off. This one's powered by a button. Turn it on, and then with the delay it turns itself off. Switch with a simple inverter works with this as well. Or no, that's not an inverter. It's just plugged into the block receiving power from a lever. So you can have a raised switch. I think this one, yeah, this one's the inverter. You have this set to off. So if I turn it on, it takes power away. If I have it set to off, it gives power back. That's why it's called an inverter. It can be confusing at first. Off means on means off. And over here you can see why this one's just randomly turned on, because this one is plugged in to this block. So you have your source, you have your redstone, you have a powered block. Any one powered block connected to one or more pistons will activate. It will draw power from this block. So if I had a piston here and I had a piston here, they would both turn on. Over here you can have redstone torque under a piston and it would still receive power. And over here you have inverter plugged in the piston, so you don't need to do it. You can do it with a redstone torch. You can also have You can also have a switch to a repeater into a wire into the piston. Useless information, but it works. So these are all the different methods you can have to connect any number of things in any different way. Here you have your stone pressure plate and your wood pressure plate. Your stone pressure plate is only active when an entity, like a player or a mob, stands on it, as seen here. And the same goes for the wooden one, where I stand on it and it powers all those and it turns off. However, if I was to throw an item onto it, it would turn on until I take the item back. With the stone, not quite so much. It does nothing. Now, with detector rails are also good at sending a redstone signal in place of a button or a lever. So these can be used to switch rails on later on down the track for you if you are going too fast and you don't have enough reaction time to smack that lever on the wall that's you're right next to flip the switch. And as you see here, and here you can see two blocks that you cannot push with a piston. It's obsidian and adminium, or bedrock. These two blocks are completely immovable unless you mine that or destroy it in creative. If you find my videos useful and helpful, please hit that like button down there, that subscribe button right there, and give some thumbs up. And I would like it if you would leave some comments down below on what kind of videos you'd like to see next. If you'd like to become a guardian, subscribe. Join us on the Oval Table, where we will be hosting the Guardians of Zodia, which will be coming out soon, so keep an eye out. Check out Guardian Icarus's channel as well, see what kind of cool stuff he comes up with. And once again, leave comments down below about what kind of other videos you'd like to see from me. Pretty soon I'll also be having other videos where I will be asking you, other Guardians, to help me out in my current adventures, which will be coming up pretty soon, so keep an eye out for those. Once again, like, subscribe, it'd be great.